Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today's video is a response, and I've been meaning to do more responses, but I just couldn't be bothered in the end. But this is a good one. Oh, excuse me. This is a good one. This is actually a very interesting little topic, and I've never really delved into what I was like as a child and how I used to play with my toys and certain childhood memories. I've never really gone into that. I've mainly spoken about nostalgic stuff with how I feel about cartoons from back in the day and things like that. I've done that, but I've not done this. But anyway, so what am I reviewing? What am I responding to today? Well, I am responding to none other than Dave Smsno. Smsno. So I'm responding to him because he made a Figure Force video again for the Figure Force people to respond to, and also for anyone outside that bracket to do a response as well. And that was when I was a kid, or when I was a child, or whatever you want to pronounce that as. So, when I was a child, I was a bit of a loner. Not much has changed, to be quite honest, but I used to be quite a loner. I found it very difficult to make friends. Obviously, I've been friends with Sam. Many of you know who Sam is. I've mentioned him plenty of times, and people have met him in person. I've been friends with Sam since primary school, and I mentioned this on the TFYTC podcast, or modcast, whatever it is. They actually invited me on once, and it was really awesome. And I mentioned it there, and everyone was kind of aghast, like, "Oh my God, you've known each other for over 20 years." Essentially, yes, we've known each other for nearly 25 years. I'd say near on a good 25 years because we've been friends since we were about 5 or 6 years old. Which was at primary school. We both went to the same school. We met there. Can't remember off the top of my head how the hell we actually met in the first place. But anyway, so this whole response is not really about that. It's about more toy centric. So let's talk about toys. So I've always had quite a vivid imagination, especially when I was a kid. I was practically always in my head anyways, because I felt it very difficult to express myself verbally, because I probably would end up getting teased by other kids and bullied and things. So I used to keep myself to myself, and I was quite the learner at school until I met Sam and a few other friends throughout my school life, and then things got a bit better. So what I used to do, me and Sam used to play Beast Wars on the school field, because obviously me and Sam loved Beast Wars. We practically watched nearly everything. We both had, it was kind of an uncanny friendship, really. It was kind of like a brotherhood rather than a friendship, because we're like brothers from other mothers. We really was. We still are to this day. We've not really changed. What Sam likes, I might like. We don't see eye to eye in everything, but for the most part, we're fans of Transformers, fans of majority of the 80s and 90s cartoons that aired. I've seen more stuff than Sam has, because I was lucky enough to have Sky when I was a kid in the 90s, and Sam didn't have Sky. He had just normal CBBC and CITV and things like that, with certain things coming over from Sky onto normal TV. But anyway, so we used to play Beast Wars on the school field. I used to be Rat Trap, and Sam used to be Cheetor, because Rat Trap at the time was my favourite character, and obviously Cheetor was Sam's favourite character. So we used to do that a lot. But when I was at home in my room, I used to know a few kids, and things have changed down the street. You know, me and my mum and dad and everything, my parents have lived down the street for maybe nearly 30 years. I've been here since I was born. I've been here for 30 years. But I think, obviously, they moved in a few years before I was born to this house. And I remember my dad's old camera. My dad had a really old VHS cassette camcorder that he bought for it. Would cost him about nearly £1,000 at the time, because that's how expensive these home movie camcorders used to be. It used to be like nearly £1,000 for like a basic model. And my dad bought one specifically because of me being born. My mum and my dad had a bit of a bad time with trying to have a child. A few setbacks here and there, and I come along and things changed for the better. And my dad wanted to kind of buy a camcorder in order to kind of, record the early years and birthdays and anniversaries and stuff like that. So, with this camcorder, I will get to the point of the video. I used to make home movies with my toys. Ever since me watching Toy Story kind of gave me the inspiration to kind of do my own little stories. Do you remember at the beginning of Toy Story where you see Andy in the opening credits of the movie, where you see Andy playing with Woody and all the other original toys, like Mr. Potato Head and things like that, and that he's got them all set up as like a western. It was like a western thing, and he's going around doing all the voices to the characters and giving them a personality and really having a good time with his toys. And when I saw that for the first time as a kid, that just hit me, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna do this when I get home." And I had plenty of toys. My mum and my grandma went searching high and low to try and find me a Buzz and a Woody for Christmas one year. And I got both of them, and I absolutely loved them. And I still have them, actually. I still have my original Woody and my original Buzz. I don't have them here. I've actually given them to my little cousin William, who lives at the bottom of the street, and he loves them as well. My cousin is starting to kind of get him into Disney classics, and Toy Story is one of them. So I used to do home movies with my toys. Let's get to this point. So I used to do home movies. I used to kind of, not just home movies with my toys, I used to try and pretend to do the voices and kind of just typical play motion. There was no stop motion or anything like that. It was just literally just me. You see my hands in frame, and I'm just kind of like being this character and that character, and we're going at it with each other. So when I was a kid, I was massively into my action figures. If anyone remembers Action Man, it's no longer around anymore, unfortunately. It changed into something else later on. But I used to have a lot of them. I used to have Professor X and pretty much a lot of the different versions of Action Man, and I used to have some of the vehicles. And I used to do a lot of home movies with my Action Man figures. And when I got older, a little bit older, and I started watching Transformers such as Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and a lot of stuff on Sky, I was bought, and I really wanted a lot of the transforming figures that was released. Because where I live in Hessel, we had an actual toy shop. It's not there anymore, which is a real crying shame, because it was fantastic. It had every single major toy any child would want from any franchise. I got my Pokemon cards from there. I got my Bionicles, because I had a phase with my Bionicle Lego sets. I bought Transformers from there. I got some Armada figures back in the day. I got some Beast Wars figures back in the day. They stocked everything. It was an incredible shop. It really, really was. But sadly due to times, I think the guy who owned it retired, but he never handed it down to somebody else, which is unfortunate. But I used to do home movies with my toys. I remember I used to be in the front room. I'm now in the back room. In the front room, you've seen this. If you've been subscribed to my YouTube channel for quite a while, you would have noticed that I've changed rooms a couple of times. My bedroom. I've been in one room that's a bit more bigger, a bit more floor space, and one that I'm in at the moment, which is a bit smaller in scale. And I used to be in the front bedroom when I was a kid, and I used to just literally just the toys were just all over the floor, on the carpet. I just was just lost in this imaginative, in my mind, just playing with my toys and just having a great time, just pretending to be the characters, trying to, the bad guys to the good guys, having this big war and big battles. I just had an incredible time when I was a kid, and I kind of wish you could go back to those days, but you can't, sadly. But yeah, that is my story. I used like I said, just to kind of clarify what I said there, is just I had quite the vivid imagination, like majority of children out there. Sadly, not so much now, because it's mainly all thumbs on bloody tablets and phones and gaming, bloody game consoles at the age of 8 years old. I had some game consoles when I was a kid. My dad got me an Atari, a Sega, all second hand. I'm not brand new, but he got me. I had an Atari and a Sega. I can't remember what version it is now. And a PS1, and then I got a PS2 later, and PS3s, PS4s, and anyway. Sorry about that. I just got a message. Pop up in the corner there. But yeah, so I used to have some game consoles, but I still used to go out with my friends. Still go out and play in the streets, and go for little walks around and little adventures with my friends. And then when I was much younger, I used to just divulge in my toys and just make up these worlds and different scenarios with my toys, especially mainly my action men. I mean, I had a lot of. Sadly, I don't have them anymore, but I used to have Beast Machines, Beast Wars figures. I used to have some of the RRD 2001 figures. I used to have Sideburn, X-Brawn, Prowl. I used to have Jetstorm from Beast Machines. I used to have Rat Trap. I used to have quite a few, actually, of my favourite characters from stuff that I used to watch. I was big into my Power Rangers. I used to do big into my wrestling when I was a kid as well. I remember kind of like jumping off the settee onto cushions that I've put on the floor, kind of practicing wrestling moves, and kind of practicing my punching and kicking from like watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And oh man, those were the days. Anyways, I could talk to you forever. About this stuff, but I'm going to bring it to an end now. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Dave for making a pretty awesome video. Interesting to make response to. Hope you've enjoyed. I've been nosy as always. Until next time, stay awesome. See you soon.